Hi, today I'm going to discuss keto diet or ketogenic diet with you. And the keto diet is one of the most popular diet around the world today. The one very important fact for the popularity of the keto diet is that it has the potential to reduce fat in the human body, so they help us to lose weight. So the question is, what is keto diet? And keto diet is kind of a diet have very special structure. And we know that in our nutrition component, the three major components. This is carbohydrate or carbs, and protein and fat. And in the normal section, we don't calculate this kind of special composition. But in the keto diet, they requires high fat and moderate protein and low in carbs. So they have an ideal composition if we really want to practice keto diet. So generally speaking, you need 75% fat, 20% protein, and 5% carbs. So in most of our family, we may have opposite structure, because in our main dish, in most of family will have rice, bread, fruits, and all this is high component of carbs, and they have much more carbs. And as a matter of fact, most family will have complete opposite to the keto diet. You may have 75% carbs and 5% of fat, because most people think the fat is not good to our human body, to our health. So we are taught this way from when we are young, that always think that fat is bad thing for our human body. So let's have a look what is high carb to our body. We know that based on a study from so many years, that we now know the high carb diet really have some bad consequences to our human health. So when we consume high carb diet, and this carb diet will be degraded, and they have become glucose. And glucose itself cannot get into the cells. They need assistant insulin. So when you have high glucose, and that will inform the body to secrete more insulin. So when we consume more carbs, so in our blood they always have glucose, and the insulin needs continuously secreted. So that's because the overuse the system, that insulin receptor will become resistant. But in order for the system to work, that we still need to secrete insulin. So that's that is the consequence, high glucose, and result in high insulin in the blood. We know the insulin is an important factor for many of chronic inflammation, and we know inflammation relates to a number of chronic diseases such as diabetes and a number of neurodegenerative diseases. So that is a big health problem around the world. So why we need keto diet? So the keto diet provides alternative energy sources. Instead, use glucose as energy source. And in the keto diet, they teach healthy cells to consume fat, and the process is ketosis. Here let's look at the details how this will work. Use ketone diet. As I mentioned, when you use ketone diet, you have higher in fat and lower in carbohydrate. So if you practice this, that means the carb intake will be decreased. So you have much more fat intake. And because your intake of carb is reduced, the blood glucose is reduced. And that's because this less glucose used to energy for the cells, and the body informed the pancreas to reduce the insulin secretion. And so this is very, very important point here, that because we don't need insulin anymore. And that's, as I mentioned earlier, that this is the cause of a lot of inflammation related illness, as I mentioned, like diabetes and other chronic diseases. And because this energy source, glucose energy source, is blocked, and then the body is looking for alternative energy source, and so they turn on the source of using fat as source of energy. And in our body, this very great system to use fat as a source. This is inherited from our ancient, because during that time we have much less glucose source. Most of the energy source come from fat. And in the level, this system which lead to the ketosis, and that means to break down the fat into a small molecule, and most of them are called ketones. And ketone is much more powerful energy source than glucose, and much more efficient. And if you train your body use ketones, and the energy source is unlimited, because everybody have fat in your body. You can always use the system. Actually, you don't need to eat all the time. Not like glucose. They always need glucose in the blood to make sure you feel you're not hungry. So after ketones is produced, and that ketones are released into the bloodstreams and in all the organs, and that body can use the ketones as energy source. As I mentioned, ketones is much more efficient energy use. And especially most important is that the ketone can be very effective and used in the brain. We know that most of energy we use during normal life, normal activity, is the brain. So, and brain can use ketone very effectively. So, but in this case, then the body will know that I'm going to use ketone. Again, because if you train your body by uptake of high amount of this fat, the body will now turn on this ketosis. So your body always have this energy source, use ketone as energy source. So then they're looking for glucose. They don't want glucose, because glucose is a kind of low source of energy and low efficient. So, but the ketone is much higher. Ketones is much higher source of energy. You don't feel hungry all the time, and so you don't need to use this for your body. So that is the ketone diet. What is ketone diet? I hope you can practice ketone diet, and also in the future I'm going to talk about how to practice this ketone diet. And actually most people maybe already have some form of ketone diet, and it's not very strict. You can everyone have different format of ketone diet, and this is very flexible. But in order for you to use such system, you're going to just need have your own approach to build up your own ketone diet. And that's it for today, and I wish to see you in my next video. Bye.